Have you ever wondered if Trader Joe's has any good Italian red wine? I did too, so I did the only thing that made any sense. I bought every single one of them. What have I done? What in God's name have I done? Jesus Christ. I bought every single one of them. Every single one of them. From my shopping trip, I ended up with 23 bottles ranging in price from $5 on the low end all the way up to $36 on the high end. But I gotta say, I don't feel particularly confident in this tasting. Why? Because what non-wine people don't know is that Italian wine is weird. Let me show you what I mean. In the US, France, Australia, Chile, and Argentina, the top 5 red grapes planted in each of these countries are more or less these. The top 5 in Italy, though, are these. Notice anything weird? Is the word different? Maybe it's the word different, right? Weird. So what's going on? These grapes over here are the foundation of the French winemaking style, which ultimately went on to become the predominant winemaking style across the globe. Well, except for in one place. So what's the deal with this? Well, it turns out Italy's been making wine for over 1,000 years longer than France. So even though the French basically created our global wine culture, the Italians already had their own culture in place for way longer. And so that means they don't really care about changing the way they've been doing things. Instead, they value their indigenous grape varieties and local winemaking traditions that have been in use since around the year 4000 BC. So then why don't I feel confident in this tasting? Well, because I personally think Italian wine is maybe a little overrated. Don't hate me, it's just how I fell in love with wine was with these grapes, not so much these ones. So even though I've got a lot of bias going into this, I think that actually makes it that much more exciting because you just might watch me become an Italian wine lover. By the way, I'm Dustin. I've tasted literally thousands of wines, and it's always bothered me how people who know about wine make it so snobby and complicated. I'd like to change that, so say hello to my channel where I make fun, helpful videos for non-wine people. This isn't the first time I've made a video like this though. In a previous video, I tasted every Bordeaux wine from Trader Joe's, and in another, every Pinot Noir. You can find those videos here. So today, we're gonna find out if Trader Joe's has any good Italian red wine, and if it does, which one is best. To do that, I'm gonna blind taste and score each of these 23 wines, and I mean truly blind. I will have absolutely no idea what's in each glass. I'll be drinking them in a totally random order, but you, my beloved audience, will get to see them in a far more satisfying way, from least expensive to most expensive. And even more, I'll put an indicator on the screen with the name of the wine so you always know what's in the glass. But me, I'm in the dark. Are you ready? Let's get to boozing. Let's get to boozing. All right, what's gonna be so fun is that I am exhausting my entire supply of wine glasses in my house right now to do this tasting. So you might notice some different shapes. This one is a particularly lovely wine glass. If you're just new to wine, you might not know that there are totally different ranges of quality of wine glasses. It sounds crazy, like the glass makes a difference. It really does, and I can prove it, which I will in another video. Josephine Hoot. No, like 98% nothing, but like a little bit of pencil shavings. I think if you haven't, smell a pencil sharpener. Lightly, do it lightly, because if you go too far, it won't be pleasurable, but this is a little pleasurable. Okay, boy, this is so boring. God, you're so boring. I have so little to say about you. I'm struggling. This is a weak C. Shouldn't pay more than $10. It's the lack of offensiveness that is keeping you out of the D range. So just be thankful. Say your prayers and be thankful. Okay, next one. You're a disgrace to the Josephine Hood. Wow, nothing, another nothing. Sometimes there's different levels of nothing. And what I mean by that is like, how long do I have to smell until there's truly nothing to find? Because sometimes it's nothing, but then it's like, okay, I'm getting it. There's a little bit of something in the glass. But this one, I have to, and I get nothing. It's a strong nothing. One of the strongest nothings I think I've ever experienced. Boy, this wine literally tastes like it was just, it's fresh from the assembly line. You are fresh from the assembly line. You are a disgrace to wine. You taste literally industrial wine. What am I saying? There's a big old udder, and it's like the end of a giant industrial cow process, and people are just like, and this poor mechanical cow is just like, my milk. That's what you are. Jesus Christ. And yet, you aren't actually that fully offensive, so you're a D. Only free if it's at a wedding. Only free at a wedding. Never anything else.
Smell the Josephine Hoot.
Don't smell the Josephine Hoot. It's pretty boring to smell this wine. It does smell like wine. I think this is another industrial one, be my guess. So that typically means like cheap. It's like literally they have some scientific industrial process that they figured out to get like one good sip. But the second sip upsets the first sip. It's like they clash. I gotta give it a D. I can't. It's tearing itself apart. It's just having a war in my mouth with its own self. You should only be drank by people drunk already at weddings, and they can't tell the difference anymore. You're perfect. For that moment, you'll shine. All right, nothing. Literally nothing. There's like the faintest hint of something that resembles wine, but ultimately nothing. Here we go. Wow, that is... I am trying to search for the words to describe this because it's not horrible. This is actually interesting to drink, but kind of in all the wrong ways. It zigs when it should zag. It's like electrifying on your tongue, but in a slightly putrid way. I can't, you have to be a D. I'm so sorry. I can't drink you. Like, I would drink you if you were free at a wedding, no doubt about it. Listen, I want to not make this snobby and complicated, but I would be a little snobby about you at a wedding. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'd be like, of course this is the wine on offer. That's why you should stick around so that you can become one of those people. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not gonna be that way. So, yeah, you're a D. Do better. I don't like the way this wine smells. Like a metallic old book smell. Old books, that smell I think is a pleasurable smell, but then it gives way to this metallic, unnatural scent. Something that feels artificial. This is messaging to me like one of those industrial cheap wines it is just supply chain optimized. We'll see. Let's give it a taste and see if that comes through. God, Jesus, these wines that are like industrial. This does taste kind of industrial, but some of these industrial wines are more successful than others. This one is successful in getting out of its own way, and it does leave you with a bit of a kind of like a yucky. I thought I was gonna give you a weak C, but I think that you're a D. I really do. I would only drink it if it was free at a wedding. So yeah, you're a good wedding wine. That's about all I can say about you. Next wine, here we go.
Josephine Hoot.
Oh boy, do you know what that smells like? Nothing. Oh, just like the faintest little fucker of like red wine. There's no concept of anything that this smells like besides the faintest whiff of red wine. Not boding well. Boy, this wine is an absolute disgrace to the Josephine Hoot. This is a disaster of a wine. You like hurt my mouth. You taste just like heavy metals. People deserve better. I don't know. My prediction on you is that you're very cheap. You're like under $10. And the rating, by the way, you are a very weak D. You are an incredibly weak D. And if I could put you in timeout, I would. Actually, there is nothing preventing me from putting you in timeout. I can just do that. I'm gonna put this fucker in timeout right now. I'm putting this son of a bitch in timeout. I'll be right back. It's like mentholy and like a little grassy. Both of those can be okay in a fine wine context, but this just smells like a process that somehow a little bit of character got into the process. Green bell pepper. That's what you are. You're green bell pepper. Yeah, that's like the mix of grassy and a little mentholy, I'd say, is a green bell pepper. You got a green bell pepper thing. That's definitely a fine wine trait. But I don't know, there's something about you that isn't messaging as fine wine. Let's see. Oh, you have that fabric softener bullshit thing going on. Like, you just taste cheap. You taste cheap. I don't really want to keep drinking this wine. And so, despite that positive stuff I said, this is a D. I'll give it a strong D. You're a strong D. You're the D that the people need when they need it. When they're like, give me D. This is the D they want. They don't want weak ass D. They want strong, thick, turgid, vascular D. That's what you are. Here we go. This has a little bit of that barnyard funk. Really, really, really light, in a really good way. Barnyard funk needs to be very delicate. It needs to be like diet barnyard funk. Or if you're like a hip, cool young person, barnyard funk 0. So yeah, this is reasonable to smell. It's reasonable. Best I can say, reasonable. Okay, I really needed to you got a rare triple taste. Normally I just stick with 2, because you go too far with these 23 wine tastings, it adds up pretty quickly. And I did a triple because it's hard to put my finger on whether you're any good. When tasting this wine, it's predominantly nothing, but there's like a hint of depth to it. There's a little bit of character. I can't even put a word to it, which means that it has no clarity. This is just one of those wines where it isn't totally offensive to drink. It lacks clarity, but it's heading in the right direction. But I reiterate, it is doing the bare minimum that it needs to do to be competitive. And so you're a weak C. That's it. You're getting a C-. And that means I would expect to pay no more than $10 for a wine of this quality. All right, here we go. You know, it's so funny. As I was tasting this, I had already forgotten what it smelled like. That is a beautiful metaphor for how unremarkable this wine is. Really surprisingly manages to get out of its own way when you taste it, and it doesn't even go anywhere after you're done tasting it. I couldn't tell you a single thing about this besides that it tastes like red wine. So it's a weak C. Yeah, you're gonna sneak right on by. So I would expect to pay no more than $10 for a wine of this quality. And the only thing that I can say that's right about you is that you're not doing anything wrong. So you are just by a razor hair. Weak C. All right, moving on. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Literally, I'd have to sit there for a while to give you a single word that isn't the absence of something. So let's move on. Oh boy, you aren't very good. You're still wine, and you don't give me a headache, so I'll give you a D. You're gonna skirt by with a D. Okay, next wine. Here we go. Oh, this smells industrial as fuck. Whoa! I don't like smelling this, but I'll do it again. This smells like a cleaning product. Maybe an Italian cleaning product. Maybe it's Giuseppe's Goo Gone. Buonissimo! Let's give it a taste. Let's see if it tastes like Giuseppe's Goo Gone. Oh man, this is just another it's just so industrialized, but it isn't totally offensive. It's a D. It's just such a D. They just have that essence of being from a vat, like a big old chemical vat. I don't know, man. Do harder. This is a D. Weak D. Let's move on. This does not deserve any more of my detention. Oh, this is actually interesting. Wow, great timing. I was just about to give up, and then as if it was a gift from God. This smells like apricots. How interesting. Apricot marmalade. Really strongly. It almost too much. It's kind of coming across as a flaw, if I'm honest. Wine shouldn't be this sweet smelling. After a C of your garbage brethren, you have my attention. What are you gonna do with it? This is totally industrial softness going on. It's like they're putting fabric softener in these wines, these industrialized wines. I mean, I could be totally wrong. You could be very expensive, but there's a quality that I very much associate with like large scale production. Just tastes industrialized, but that scent was really wild. So this is really knocking on the door of easy drinker alert. I feel like there should be like something before easy drinker. It's like kind of a beginner wine. Like I kind of want to put that mouthful on the screen. This is kind of a beginner wine. And so with all that being said, I think you're a solid C. I think I'd pay between $10 and $12 for a wine of this quality. And so that's how I feel. That's you. Solid C. Thanks for the apricots. It smells like soy sauce, but like that weak ass soy sauce. Tamari? The hell's tamari? Not great, but it's okay to smell. This is classic manufacturing process wine. Bland, yet also palatable. It's a veneer. It like so quickly collapses because it's now turning into like grim death in my mouth. It's a D. I wouldn't drink this unless it was absolutely free, and I don't ever want to drink you again. By the way, like, I think Italian wine is a little overrated. Like, I think that that's a controversial opinion. I just want to bring awareness to this important topic, which is that I think people go to Italy for like their honeymoons and vacations, and they're drinking wine and they're really drinking in the scenery, which is beautiful and incredible. And I think they're passing a lot of that on to what's in the glass. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you also think Italian wine is overrated. And if you don't think it's overrated, don't put it in the comments. I don't want to hear about it. This smells like a little bit like nothing, but it also smells sweet. You smell sweet in an ungood way. This like makes me uncomfortable. Like I feel like this wine is going to be very manufactured tasting. So yay, industrial wine for Dusty. Let's see. I don't know if in the history of this channel I've ever given a wine a strong D that has that sweetness at the beginning, and there is some sweetness in the body of this wine, but it tastes so industrial, and it's not particularly like easy to drink. And oh man, it has given me a headache. Oh, I hate when wines do this. I have no idea how you do this so quickly. Despite the headache, I'm still sticking with that strong D comment. You're a strong D, only free at a wedding. I swear to God, if any of you go out and buy this wine and you misconstrue what I mean, I'm just saying, if you're at 2 different weddings at the same time, and one of them had this and another one had one of the other D wines, this would be the better one to have. It's all I'm trying to say. Don't buy this wine. Okay, I gotta go. We gotta keep going. Let's go. I feel like I've literally just like went to a different universe. This wine is so dreadfully boring. I just said something like a British person. Feel dreadfully boring. Harry Potter. That's what you are. You're the Harry Potter of wines. You belong underneath the stairs. I wonder if this is one of those Appassimento ones where they are processed to dry the grapes, because it has a little bit of like an old sweet grape, but like a dusty old dirt grape that you just like pick up and you're like, oh, is that a grape? And you're like, shatters into a billion pieces of dust particles. I want to say like Spidey sense, but in this case it's like a D sense. Do you get a sense for the D? This one's a D. So if your D sense was tingling, if your D sense was tingling, you were correct. You weren't mistaken. You were experiencing the premonition that a D was coming, and it came. This D came. All right, next. Did I even say, oh my God, did I even say anything about the smell of this wine? That is total, like, that is amazing. I hope that the camera captured the absolute like dead lifelessness in my eyes as I smelled and then mechanically tasted this wine. Like that's because there isn't even like a synapse that fired in my brain to remind me that I wasn't doing something completely absent of experience. This wine is like flabby, it's weak. It just sucks. I don't have to say much more. This is a D. It's a D every day of the week. You're a D every day of the week. It's a bunch touch of nothing, but like a little sawdust, a little tool sheddy, like a little bit of a tool shed, which is like mainly nothing. Touch of tool shed. Touch of tool shed is like the worst candle you could ever get for like a shit Christmas gift. Like you pull it up, you're like, oh, it's a candle, Yankee Candle Factory. Oh, and it's touch of tool shed. It's a shit candle. I am digging super deep to find you anything to describe this wine. I think it has to be a D. I don't know why you would buy this. Like, it doesn't have anything going on. Like, it's not offensive. All you are is a touch of tool shed. I don't have anything else to say. And it's just like, I've had other wines that only have red wine, but they have a louder interpretation of it. This is so quiet and so, it's just like, it's just nothing. This is nothing. You're nothing. You're touch of tool shed. You're a D. Only free if it's at a wedding. Don't ever do it otherwise. We gotta move on. So we do. Woo, look at you. A Rydell. We'll cover it in that wine glass video I talked about earlier. Okay, let's dive in. It's got that rusty red color. Oh geez, that's nothing. like literally, there is no scent in this giant balloon-like glass. These glasses are designed for that. Like they're actually engineered to give larger surface area so that more of the volatile organic compounds that produce the smells are released so you can experience more. Anyone who gives you a tasting note out of this and is like, wow, blueberries, they're full of shit. This doesn't even smell like anything. I mean, if I didn't know that there was red liquid in this, I would think that it was a clean, empty glass. It smells like absolutely nothing. I guess water-like? Water? I don't know why I say water. Bunch of water. Let's see how this tastes. Do you taste like nothing? That ain't bad. It's almost as if all of those volatile organic compounds aren't lifting out of the wine itself. They are just settled inside the liquid. This still just tastes like wine, but it has some complexity in the way of a sweetness. It takes a turn towards bitterness. It evolves into a bitterness, but it's not an unpleasant bitterness. It's enjoyable. I'm inclined though to give it a strong C. I know it sounds a little crazy, but it's just that palatable. This is kind of a good wine to bring to like a barbecue where you're not all gonna be smelling it. You're just gonna be drinking it and you're gonna put it in some probably plastic cups. This is a BBQ baby. Look at you, hot thing. You're a brassy BBQ woman who don't need no man except for me. Do you need me? She doesn't need me. Can I tell you a quick story? This jacket is an Arc'teryx jacket. I bought this jacket like 12 years ago, and I love this jacket so much. And this isn't sponsored by Arc'teryx, by the way. I wear this thing so much that my friends call it my exoskeleton. Where is your exoskeleton? It's just so comfortable. I just love it. My point is that I feel I discovered this brand back when it was so small, but now they sell over $1 billion in apparel per quarter. I feel kind of like cool that I've had this thing that I feel like I kind of predicted a trend and I've seen it grow. And so I just wanted to share too, like, it's my intention to be a little bit like this company. If you believe in what I'm doing and it seems like maybe it could be kind of like this where it grows and blows up, you know, I'd love to encourage that you might consider subscribing to the channel now. Like that way you can be one of the people who does get to watch it blow up and be like, I was one of those people at the very beginning. You know, you get that cool badge of honor to be one of the early ones. So just wanted to share that and I appreciate you listening. Back to boozing. Here we go. Absolutely nothing. Whole steaming pile of nothing. You don't want to smell it because you'd be smelling nothing. It'd be a waste of your time, and I care about you. It's engineered to smell nothing. Oh man, blah. It is like a bitter, almost said butthole. You almost got butthole out of me. This is just trying and failing to be anything but disappointing. It's a D, and it's a weak D. The weakest D? Yeah, like I do want a big D. Oh my God, what is this becoming? Ooh, we've got another one of these like kind of dark, rusty red ones. They're very pretty. This is like whispering something, like it kind of 100-acre wood vibe. Like I feel I'm smelling Winnie the Pooh in a positive way. Like I'm getting a little bit of like a touch of honey, but like a forest. It's like Christopher Robin is like Winnie the Pooh from quite a bit away. I think it's a good smell. I'm pretty sure, but it's very faint. So let's give it a taste. This is a very deep wine. It's all those low notes, even though it's not particularly heavy. This isn't like a heavy wine. It's texturally light, but it just doesn't do anything fun or interesting. So I think you're just a solid C. That's it. You're just the most average base note of all time. Orange one! Orange, you happy to see me! Yay! If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you could be a cool person and check out the Pinot Noir video. But if you don't, you're not orange to happy to see this at all. I'm orange to happy to see you. I missed you. Oh, Jesus Christ. It smells like laundry detergent. Oof, okay, I am maybe rethinking my feelings of being orange to happy to see this one. Yikes. Yikes! Yeah, this is soapy. Not good is what I'm trying to say. I am gonna go out on a limb and make a prediction that this is one of the more expensive wines. Now, I don't think it's like the most expensive one, but my feeling about this one being one of the more expensive ones is that it is exhibiting some of the qualities of fine wine. It's just unfortunate that these aren't like totally the best qualities of it. As I've let this kind of get a little bit more air, it's gotten some more clarity into like a burnt woodsy type of thing. It doesn't sound totally positive, and it's not like the most interesting thing to smell. And when you taste it, it is like tense. It's a very tense wine right now. You're a strong C, okay? You're actually kind of fine wine-ish, but you're just not most of the good parts of it yet. So maybe hit the gym, get those sick-ass cum gutters, you know what I mean? Those like, those fucking cum. Okay, I'm just gonna leave now. All right, next wine. If you've ever wondered, like, what do I do with all of this extra wine? Like, I have 23 bottles of, actually, I don't technically open them. So I use a Coravin, which is like a preservation device that pierces through the cork and allows you to extract the wine and keep it preserved to some degree. What do I do with it? Well, I actually am gonna start giving away this wine to y'all, to my audience. And this is like a totally free thing, just like a giveaway type of deal. So if this seems fun to y'all, I'd love for y'all to check out my newsletter. So the way I'm gonna be doing these giveaways for wine is all through my newsletter. And so I'll put the link here on the screen, and 100% free, and so are these giveaways. Like I'll pay the shipping costs for you. I just wanna give y'all an experience that's super fun, because this is a ton of fun. But more than that, like the newsletter, it's gonna be a place for exclusive, you know, wine tasting reviews of things that I just might be out and about getting a chance to taste, and I'll share about them. In progress video concepts, and I'd get feedback from y'all. I'd love for y'all to sign up if you're interested. And of course, there's always gonna be an unsubscribe link in every message. So this is not gonna be something that I'm sending out daily or something. Even weekly sounds super aspirational. So like, think of it as a very infrequent newsletter, but I promise to just make it a place for joy and laughter and fun. So if you're interested at all, maybe you'll get a chance to try some of these wines and some of the ones from the future. Am I pleasing you? Am I? No! Ah! Oh, this one smells like poop, but not human poop, like a different type of feces. So why did I smell it again? I don't know. Let's taste it. I'm sure it'll be great. All right, that is profoundly uninteresting and honestly offensive. It smells like puppy poop. That's been baking in the Texas sun. And it just kind of hurts my mouth, and it has no anything. This is such a slog. I don't like drinking you. You're totally a D. I know you're not an F, like no one's gonna spit take, although that dog poop thing, but no, it's a weak D, don't drink it. Unless having a dog all these years, you've developed like specific tastes. If you have, if that at all sounds like a you type of thing, this might be like it could be like a weak B. I don't mean, like how many places can you get that kind of action? So, you know, hey, for the rest of us, weak D. But for a few of you, weak B. You know who you are. All right, next wine. Ooh, that smells lovely. Yeah, this is a beautiful, complex, like knocking on the door of fine wine. It's like a little desirable barnyard funk. I know, it's like barnyard funk. The problem is an actual barnyard is too much funk. So it's like 1% barnyard funk. And it kind of adds this dimension of depth and complexity that's very interesting. Let's give it a taste. You know, I know it was knocking on the door of fine wine on the nose. It doesn't deliver any fine wine on the tongue. Given the fact that it's interesting to smell and it gives you like a hint of fine wine, I'm willing to give this a solid C. So I'd pay no more than $10 to $12 for a wine of this quality, but ultimately it doesn't deliver on any promise that it made up front. It just kind of tastes like wine. And even then, it isn't particularly interesting wine. And finally, it tastes kind of like prickly. And I know, wine, tannins, prickles, I get it, but they're a little rough. It's almost like a carbonated taste. And it's like, but why the solid C? It's just really interesting to smell. And you know, you don't have to drink it. You could just smell it. But we're just scratching the surface when it comes to wines from Trader Joe's. If you really want to know which Trader Joe's wines are the best, not just the Italian ones, then check out these videos where I tasted every Bordeaux wine from Trader Joe's, and in another, every Pinot Noir. You can find those videos here or in the link in the description.